Live.
ගමට සතුට ගෙන එන ගම්මැද්ද රට නගන ජනපෞර
News First, Newsline.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Newsline. You are joining me, Shihan Ranatunga. I'm sitting in for Farah Shaukat Ali this evening. We are recording this evening's program. As you know, it's a Poya, it's a holiday, but yet our guest this evening has very kindly agreed to join us in the midst of his busy schedule and being with his family. Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, we thank you very much for agreeing to join us on the show tonight.
Thank you, Shihan, for the invite.
It's always a pleasure. Mr. Weerakkody, you as a member of parliament, I'd first like to get your opinion on the situation right now in the country. Now, we know that we have received the good news from the IMF. And when you look at the situation, it seems that the price of goods are decreasing. You know, the fuel prices are down, gas prices are down, vegetable prices are down. The situation looks good, isn't it, Mr. Weerakkody?
Well, I mean, if the situation is good and when the situation is good, we must be all happy. Of course, I must tell you the fact that it was all of us who insisted that we try and get into IMF program from the beginning. But the former president and the present government, present cabinet, didn't give a hearing. They were completely ignored our cries to go in line with IMF. But even after a long lapse, we are happy that the government has decided to follow IMF guidelines, and the government being able to get the facility is appreciated. But at the same time, I must say, it is only now we have got the challenge to face it. We have during even in the past, we have got on 16 times we have got the facility, but we have miserably failed to perform up to IMF expectations and the expectations of the people. That is why we had to remain as an underdeveloped country, and that is why we failed and collapsed as a country, and our economy collapsed. So there are certain things that we have to prove to the international community, mostly to the Sri Lankan community. I mean, we don't have to prove anything to the international community. So long as we are as a government, as a country, in a position to perform our governance in line with democratic values. And so long as we don't interfere with judiciary, so long as we are transparent and we are not into corruption, so long as we are in a position to be known as a country which is known, I mean, we are known as Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. If we can maintain the fact that ours is a true democracy, then I think we will be able to go for the next tranche. We will be able to get assistance from other like places like ADB, World Bank, and so on. So it is now up to the government to perform. People have done their best to support, and as opposition, we have always been requesting the government to do the right thing. So it is now up to the president and the government to do the right thing. And we must understand, of course, we are happy, grateful over the fact that we have got $330 million US, but at the same time, we must have a steady program. We must have a target so that we will have foreign remittances continue to flow into the country due to our exports and due to the performance of the country, not about expecting grants or having to expect other people to give us a handout.
Mr. Weerakkody, now in your opening statement, you've mentioned a lot of very important terms, trigger words. In fact, I'd like to bring them up at various points. But first and foremost, now you yourself are a member of the ruling party. Let's say you were elected to parliament through the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, but of course, as you said, now with a member of the opposition. So as a member of the opposition, Mr. Weerakkody, how is it that you intend to contribute to ensure that Sri Lanka doesn't go to the IMF again over another failed IMF program?
Well, our duty as members of the opposition is to pinpoint the government and tell them, criticize constructively to get them on the right track and get whatever that is best for the country. So we have been telling that, and even now we are openly telling the government not to interfere with judiciary, be transparent, not to be corrupt, and to do whatever possible so that the investors feel free to come into the country, improve tourism, so that for the tourists to come to Sri Lanka, we must give the message that we are a safe country. So, but unfortunately, at times we don't see such things. Now the parliamentary democracy is not. I mean, the parliament is not allowed to perform on its own. So, which is it is always being interfered with. Now I know for a fact. Now we are now the Public Finance Committee is an important committee of Parliament as regards a development of the country and the economy, and especially in order to maintain that the country is committed to follow our development programs in a very transparent manner. But I must tell you, as of now, the chair of the Public Finance Committee remains unappointed, remains vacant. The authority to appoint is with the Committee of Selections. But now it's over a month and a half. The Committee of Selection has not been able to appoint an opposition member to the position. We know for a fact that our member Harshadi Silva was doing a good job of work, and it was appreciated by everyone. So we as committee members, we did our best to contribute for the betterment of the country. But unfortunately, even on the 4th, yesterday, the committee was scheduled to make an appointment, but that has again been postponed. And the last time, we were not able to hold the meeting because a pro tem chairman has not been appointed by the speaker. At least a pro tem chairman has not been appointed. So which is not what is expected by the government to commit. So I think that appointment can be easily be done by the speaker and the Committee of Selections. So by such conduct, your damage in the government is damaging whatever IMF and other facility that this country is getting and what we are yet to get in time to come. We must have a free judiciary. Every law must be must be equal to the law of the country. But as you know, the elections are being postponed, and there are government attempts to postpone elections indefinitely. That is obviously seen by anyone in the country, and the international monitors also are observing these things. And many countries and organizations have advised the government to hold local government elections at a time where the provincial elections are postponed indefinitely. And a president who has not been elected by the people is in charge of the executive, in charge of presently he is keeping the parliament under control, because at any given time he can dissolve the parliament. So parliament members are, I know majority of the members are reluctant for an early dissolution. So as a result of that, the president can get all of them to dance according to the tune, and the provincial councils are controlled by him. So are the local government bodies. So at a time like this, when the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka gave an order directing the Secretary Treasury not to withhold money that was allocated by the budget by a vote of parliament for elections, so that free, fair elections could be held. When an interim order was given, in a matter, the main order has not been delivered. Now there is an attempt to bring judges concerned before the Parliamentary Privileges Committee. If you may look at Article 111C of the Constitution, it is not possible to call judges before the Parliamentary Privileges Committee. And obviously, when you look at the Parliamentary Privileges Act, there is no provision in the Parliamentary Privileges Act to interfere into the matters of judiciary. And when Parliament, it is the Parliament that enacted the Constitution. It is the Parliament that created three independent pillars for the governance of this country. So, but unfortunately, the same Parliament, the Speaker of the same Parliament, is trying through the Privileges Committee to get the Supreme Court judges before a committee and influence them, or to intimidate them, or to interfere in an indirect way to running of the independent judiciary. So these type of issues will be detrimental to the country. So it is not the opposition that can prevent the damage that will be caused to the country when implementing future programs like IMF. It is the government that should be mindful of such conduct of theirs and prevent such illegal activity or unlawful activity or undemocratic activity happening in this country for the betterment of the country.
Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, we'll now cross over for a short commercial break. We'll take a look at the headlines, in fact, but we'll be right back.
News First, Newsline.
Sri Lanka will not restructure treasury bills outside of central bank holdings, says Governor. Removing Rajapaksas from power was the work of a third-party conspiracy, says Namal Rajapaksa. Anti-Terrorism Act paves the way to label citizens as terrorists, warns experts. Law Asia expresses concern over judicial independence. Supreme Court should not be summoned to explain judicial orders to anyone, says the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Prices of kottu and fried rice reduced by 100 rupees. Donald Trump pleads not guilty to 34 felony counts in hush money case.
News First, Newsline.
Good evening and welcome back to Newsline. You're with me, Shehan Ranatunga, sitting in for Farah Shaukat Ali. Our guest this evening is Member of Parliament, Mr. Chandima Weerakkody. Mr. Weerakkody, we discussed the status of Sri Lanka at present. Now I'd like to get your opinion on something which is making waves, particularly in political fora, and that is, I want to get your opinion on this anti-terrorism bill. Mr. Weerakkody, there have been calls for the Prevention of Terrorism Bill, or rather the Prevention of Terrorism Act, to be repealed. And now the government has brought forward the Anti-Terrorism Bill, promising to repeal the PTA and replace it with this. Can I get your opinion on this bill?
Well, that is another. I mean, we have always had democratic issues relating to democracy. That has been a huge challenge for the country in order to maintain our international relations. So, one of the key such issues has been the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which was of course useful at a time we were faced with a terrorist issue. Now, since we have come out of it, the international community as well as the Sri Lankan community wanted something which is not as draconian as the Prevention of Terrorism Act. That act was called a piece of draconian legislature in Sri Lankan laws, among Sri Lankan laws. But unfortunately, the laws that are being presented as a bill are even more dangerous, more draconian than the existing Prevention of Terrorism Act. So I think, and we even yesterday at the consultative committee on justice, we raised our concerns, and the Minister of Justice agreed to give us a opportunity to discuss the existing the bill that has been presented to Parliament and whatever amendment that should be brought into the existing bill. So, and we have to be able to live in a country where the media freedom is guaranteed. We must be able to live in a country where freedom of expression is guaranteed. I mean, and according to this bill, the judiciary responsibility of the judiciary is handed to a DIG of a police, DIG of police, which is not very right. And if there is, I mean, we know we have had situations even recently. Now, when Asad Salih was taken into custody on Prevention of Terrorism Act due to a personal issue, everyone criticized it, but no one could do anything. So likewise, there were then this the lawyer who was taken into custody under PTA. There was nothing that anyone could do. So if that, I mean, even you and I can be taken in for having this TV program tomorrow, or even immediately, if the present amendment, the proposed amendment, is passed in Parliament. So we will fight, and we are anyway going to courts to prevent that danger happening, because what we value the most is our democracy, freedom. So we will do our best to prevent the government from bringing in this draconian piece of legislation to control people, suppress people's rights, and keep people under executives' one man's control. This, I think, it cannot be tolerated under any circumstances as civilians, as
Mr. Weerakkody, now we're speaking about the rule of law in the country. Sri Lanka has been through perhaps one of its most challenging times in recent history. Now, one of the questions that are being asked by the public is with regard to the situation of the opposition. There are rumors of members of opposition wanting to cross over into perhaps the government camp. Mr. Weerakkody, could you talk to us about what is the situation with the opposition? Who really is the opposition? Is the opposition weakening?
No, one must understand. I think this is a media gimmick. I'm not putting the blame on you, but with the blessings of certain media, the government is trying to say that certain number of opposition members are joining the government, whereas it is obvious that it has happened the other way. It is the government that has depleted. Now, we have over 45 members who got elected from the ruling party who are presently sitting in the opposition. So no media is highlighting that. It is only a few who had got elected from the opposition. Only one or two or three are with the government. And obviously everyone knows the maximum that this government can go on is about 1 more year and a few months. So who will want to join a government without a mandate, which is completely rejected by the people? And even according to the last survey, not even 10% of the public are for the government, are in favor of the government. So government's issue is not the fact that they don't have enough members on their side, but their issue is they know that the general public is against them. So as elected members, unless they are concerned about whatever financial benefit that could be obtained by them, since if they are rejected by the people, and if they know that they will definitely be rejected by the people at an election, all the members who are elected very well understand that this government is hated by the government, rejected by the government, and their maximum that they can, even by force, maximum that they can go is up to a period of 1 year and a few months. So at a situation like that, I don't think we will find any member of parliament to be to end up as a fool by joining the government for a few months for a portfolio.
Mr. Weerakkody, just very recently, SLPP MP and former Minister Namal Rajapaksa, he said that there was a deliberate operation at play to destabilize the country during Gotabaya Rajapaksa's administration. And he says once again that there are deliberate attempts to destabilize the country. Do you agree with that?
Well, Gotabaya Rajapaksa himself has to take the responsibility for most of what happened to the country's economy, country's security situation. The fact that all of us, even our houses are burnt. He is I don't know, with all that, we are protecting him using our own money to giving him 17 vehicles or close to 1 million rupees for his food. And now he has got a new house also, which is maintained by the government. There is no reason for anyone to organize anything to jeopardize the country unless people feel it, and people feel it that the government is not sensible towards and sensitive towards people's feelings, expectations, and they are not ready to implement the change what people expected at the Aragalaya. So, Aragalaya, there are good sides and bad sides of Aragalaya. There are certain issues that the entire country wanted resolved. So, if the government is not mindful of that, and if they think now that they are back in power, now that the IMF has come, now that they can attack people, take people into custody, control people with the use of army and police, I think they're mistaken. So just by trying to use media and play games, they will not be successful. They have to be genuine. If they really want to bring back people's support, they have to be able to be genuine and work towards expectations of the people. But these type of talk will only aggravate whatever the situation that is now in the grassroots. The hate towards the ruling party, ruling family will get aggravated if you try to talk big.
A final question, Mr. Weerakkody, before we let you go, is now there's already talk about the next presidential candidate. There are various names being mentioned, including the current president, and that he's a potential presidential candidate for the ruling party. Mr. Weerakkody, you are now a part of the opposition. Who do you think is the most suitable leader for Sri Lanka going ahead?
Well, now it's obviously the leader of the opposition has proven himself. And he has already, now usually the economic policy and other policies are put forward close upon elections. But in his case, he has already put his policies forward, and it is up for the people to discussion. And he can be questioned directly, and his team also can be questioned as to what should be done and as to how it should be done, how it is to be done. So we are ready as the opposition to take over the country. And our policies are very clear. We are not criticizing all what the government is doing. Whatever that is positive, whatever that can be acceptable towards development of the country has always been supported and appreciated. And the issues that the government doesn't understand can be addressed. And we are just not saying, we are not just criticizing. We have our solutions. We know how to handled. So I think at the next election, before the next presidential election, we as opposition will be able to gain power and take the country forward as expected by the people, as expected by all of us towards development.
Mr. Chandima Weerakkody, Member of Parliament, we thank you very much for taking some time off your busy schedule to join us on Newsline tonight. And we wish you all the very best and a happy Poya Day. And likewise, we wish all our viewers a very happy Poya. And with that, we wrap up tonight's show. Thank you and God bless.